Great, welcome back to chapter 3.2, which is on bias. And bias is a really cool word in math because it basically means that we are unfairly favoring a group, which means we're also unfairly unfavoring the other part of the group, which basically means in general that we're either on purpose or by accident, we might be unfair when we're giving a survey. So which means a biased survey is one where the biased survey does not match or doesn't represent the whole population. First of all, we need to kind of understand what the word population means. So population means everyone that we're looking at. So for example, if we're looking at the school population, well, the school population would consist of everyone from the youngest student to the oldest student, so from grade 3 to grade 12 in our school. In some schools, the school population might be grade kindergarten to grade 8. In some circumstances, the population might be the whole population of Canada. Sometimes the whole population might be the population of Toronto, or of another city, or of a whole province. So you kind of need to figure out who is everyone that would be represented in that question. So the population is everyone. And if I wanted to ask everyone, I would use a census. So census means asking everyone in the population. Now, there's some reasons why we'd want to do the census, because we ask everyone, we get everyone's input, we'll get the exact answer that we want, and everyone will be represented. I won't have any bias. I won't have to worry about not including someone. There's some drawbacks, though, of using a census. The first one is it takes too long. Imagine the population of Canada, over 30 million people, and having to ensure that we ask every single person in the country a simple question. It would take much too long to get every person's response. Or even if we did a census of our whole school, imagine if a student was absent or one class was away at a field trip. You'd have to wait and try to figure out until you find a time till you can get everybody's responses. Another drawback is that it's hard to get 100% participation. What that basically means is that if someone is absent or someone's away or someone chooses not to do the survey, then you don't get 100% of the people who are going to be interested, or you're not going to get 100% of the results. So this is why we use something called a sample. And a sample might look something like this, where I randomly just take this person and maybe this person and ask them questions instead. And I ask them a survey. So which means that I take a sample of my population. So a sample means a few or part of the whole. And this is supposed to represent everybody. A good survey is such that the sample represents the whole population. So for example, if the whole population, let's say half of the population wants more subways and the other half only wants streetcars and light rail, then if I were to ask two people at random, then half of them, if this was a good representative sample, half of them would want subways and half of them would want light rail. So it would represent everyone in the population. However, if I ask someone who's in the subway and it's on the day of major construction or there's a big delays, then I could get a biased result, which means that person might opt for more subways because they feel like there's not enough subways in our city. So which means if the sample does not represent the population, there's several things that could be wrong. Number one, the survey is biased, which means I'm unfairly favoring or not favoring a group. So likewise, let's say if I ask, I want to find out the most favorite hockey team in Canada, but all I'm going to ask are people who live in Toronto. Then my population is all of Canada, but my sample is only from Toronto, which means my prediction is that my survey will show that more people might like the Maple Leafs or to the Toronto Maple Leafs in a higher number than if I asked everyone in the country. So this survey is biased because that sample might not represent the whole population. Another reason why a sample might not represent the population is that my sample size is too small. If I ask too few people, that means there's more of a margin for error. If I ask more people, then I'll have that buffer room, which basically means that some people could be getting the answer that we want, and some people could be randomly giving a different answer that we might not want. But the more people there are, the less room there is for that error. The last reason, and I said that before, is if it's not random. So the sample is not random. So exactly like bias, if I don't mix up or if I selectively choose particular people and it's not totally random, then my results might not totally match everyone in the population or the whole what I would get if I had a census. So in order to eliminate bias, a couple of things I could do is change the survey. Some of the questions might be unfairly phrased. I'll increase the sample size and I'll randomize the sample as well. So take a look at some examples in the textbook and we'll look at the ones in class of different types of surveys and we'll examine if they're biased and whether or not that sample will represent